This was one of those days where going outdoor bouldering felt like setting myself up for failure. Despite loving the idea of driving off to climb, I have to acknowledge the fact that I live in the UK and sometimes it literally rains just everywhere. While staying at home on my day off crying myself to sleep is always an option, I convinced my mates Anna and George to venture out for a day of climbing. Question was, where do we have the best chance of finding some dry rock? After a bit of research, Biblin's cave kept popping up as a great weatherproof venue. It has some seasonal access restrictions, but fortunately for us, it's open for climbing during summer. Despite seeing rain during most of the drive, it suddenly stopped when we arrived to the car park. As we were approaching to the actual cave, we walked through this beautiful looking path, which for the most part was wet and had some mud. This wasn't a good sign, and I kept thinking that we should have probably stayed home, as there was no way we were going to find any dry rock. However, we surprised ourselves to actually find that the rock in the cave was dry, or at least most of it. Psych was high at this point, so we started to warm up. First block we tried was Surfing the Wave, a beautifully featured V5 that climbs delicately on small edges and good footholds at first, and then swaps to big handholds and okay footholds on the second half. After surfing the wave, we went to try Pop for the Top, a 7-8 block on good holds where you have to jump to a good break. Despite wanting to flash this block, my foot popped and I couldn't climb it first go. Second try went much better. When I got to the break, I thought I could try out the extension as well and get the 7A Plus called Rock the Kasbah, doing a couple more tensiony moves. I did Pop for the Top on its own again later just to get the double tick. Everything will have to count for this year's challenge of climbing 100 sevens. Next up was New School Old School, a block that came as 7A in Boulder, Britain. It seemed fairly straightforward at first, but it proved to be quite cruxy and very finger dependent. Quite steep for 7A despite its given 60 plus in UKC. I found it well harder than Pop for the Top. Definitely agree with Boulder, Britain. The next block I tried was the Bulge, another steep 7A on good holds. It took me a few attempts to figure out what I was meant to do, as on the flash burn I mainly tried to pull on the obvious features of the rock, as that in-cut edge I get with my right hand, but that only made me helicopter around. After a bit of trial and error, I managed to find out a better hold selection to send the block. obvious block I could try after sending this one was the right hand start to it, the Bulge right hand, as potentially it would only have a few different moves before linking up with the same finish. However, these first moves were new to me, so I dropped the start of it a couple of times. Right, so I'm gonna try this 70 plus Bulge, or pop to the Bulge, I think. I've done the 70 version that starts on the left. I just try to do the right hand side. I think it gets a plus for that. Let's see how it goes. To finish off, I went to try Pop for the Bulge, which is a 70 plus that combines the start of Pop for the top and the end of the Bulge, making a nice link up line with some cruxy and tensioning moves. At first, I was pretty much clueless on how to climb the moves in the middle. It simply looked impossible. However, after digging around the different edges, I came up with a sequence that could work. This vlog put an end to the climbing day, which I was really pleased with. Climbing 6 outdoor 7s in a session is something I would have not believed a couple of years ago, but after a year and a half of outdoor climbing in the UK, I seem to be getting a bit more used to real rock. In any case, I'm still quite behind for my goal of climbing 100 7s this year, so I'll have to keep this pace or even increase it in the following trips. Wish me luck. Anyway, that was all for this vlog. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support my channel, please like the video, drop me a comment and subscribe.